I'm sure that there are lots of attempts to defraud the Social Security Administration on an annual basis, and I'm sure that SSA has a fairly rigorous, compliance protocol on these things. Have there been studies by SSA or GAO or others that have shown the incidence of actual fraud?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the IG's office is continually looking for those kinds of activity. They have a tip line if people know about some fraudulent activity. I mean, you'll see a story in the news occasionally where, someone dies and a relative will not report the death. They'll bury the relative in the backyard and
Hmm.
they'll
Hmm.
continue to collect the person's benefits. And, these are anecdotal cases that you see. On occasion that show up in the press. Now, occasionally you have the reverse. SSA will get a report of death and they'll mark a person as dead, and it turns out the person isn't dead. And then the
Hmm.
person has to go through a long and rigorous process of convincing SSA that no, no, they're really not dead, and they have to start sending them their checks again. But no, I mean, the improper payment rate for Social Security, particularly for the retirement portion of the program, is some fraction of a percent. And even when you throw in disability, it's only a few percentage points. So, Social Security is spending out, paying out $1.6 trillion or so this year, and their improper payment rate is somewhere in the billions, which sounds like a lot of money, but it's a tiny, tiny percentage, single digit percentage, as it compared to the unemployment system or the SNAP program, or there are some government programs, the Earned Income Tax Credit. You have improper payment rates in some cases of 10, 20, 30%. Back during some of the pandemic programs had, a huge amount of fraud. But yeah, no, Social Security is compared to most government programs, or even compared to Medicare, Social Security program is remarkably free of the kinds of fraud and abuse that, a lot of people are suspicious is occurring. But I think in the case of Social Security, it's highly overrated.
Well, I do remember back in 2011 when my father passed away. SSA sent me a note as the executor demanding his last check back because it was issued shortly after he died. So I thought, well, this is efficiency. They're really on the ball. And I
Yeah,
sent the money back. So,
yeah, it annoys a lot of people because the way it works is you have to be alive for the entire month in order to receive the check. And,
yeah.
it's not prorated. If you die the first of the month versus the last of the month, you don't get part of the benefit. You have to send it all back. And
Yeah, no, I sent it back, but I was a little surprised. It's like, wow.
yeah,
So
no,
you're listening to, yeah.
yeah, when they get a report of death, they do follow up on it, but occasionally they don't get the report. So.